Tonight on News 5 Live, Mark Waite is gunned down in a hail of bullets, leaving another victim hospitalized at the KHMH. An accused child rapist is sentenced to 21 years and 11 months in prison. Belize takes the lead in anti-money laundering efforts. And what's going on with the Mexico Sports Center? Why has the Ministry of Sports neglected it? These stories and more are coming up in the next 60 seconds.
Discover a shopping experience like no other at the V Department Store. At the V, you'll find a vast array of products at unbeatable prices, from basic groceries and cutting-edge electronics to home essentials and, yes, stunning furniture as well. Elevate your shopping journey with affordability, diversity, and accessibility at The V, conveniently located at 1745 Coney Drive in Belize City.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Monday, January 27th. I am Sabrina Daly. Tonight we report on a tragic incident that unfolded on Saturday night. Mark Waite, who had previously been acquitted of the murder of news reporter Kareem Clark, was shot dead. Police have detained a suspect in connection with the shooting. The 24-year-old Waite was gunned down and 33-year-old Francine Hubert was critically injured in the incident. It all happened on Central American Boulevard between Faubers Road and Trinity Street, right in front of Waite's girlfriend's home. The trouble started when Waite got into a dispute with another man, who then pulled out a gun and shot him multiple times. Waite collapsed into a nearby drain and was pronounced dead before reaching the KHMH. News 5's Marian Ali has the details.
On Saturday night, 24-year-old Mark Waite's life was tragically cut short after he got into a heated altercation. The incident occurred just after 9 p.m. The Commissioner of Police, Chester Williams, provided an update on what the police had learned so far.
Sometime after 9 p.m. thereabout, police received calls of shots fired on Faubers Road. They responded, and upon doing so, they encountered the lifeless body of Mark Waite in a drain. The body exhibited what appeared to be gunshot injuries. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Another person who was in his company was also transported, a female. She also had gunshot injuries, and she is currently admitted in a critical but stable condition. We're hoping that she'll be able to make a full recovery. So far, police have one person detained, and our investigation in that matter continues.
We understand that as many as 12 rounds, if not more, were fired from what is being described as a high-powered weapon. Is that so?
I don't know where they get high-powered weapon from, but the expenditures found are 9mm pistols, 9mm rounds.
This afternoon, ACP Gilberto Romero had more information on what led to the murder.
Investigations at Mark Witt and others were socializing at a yard when there was an argument. Thereafter, somebody pulled out a firearm and fired several shots towards his direction, causing the injuries to him and to Francis Herbert. We have one suspect in custody, and the investigation continues at this time.
Can you tell us what the motive of this, I mean, aside from having the dispute, what was the dispute?
That is all we have uncovered at this time, that they had some dispute and somebody pulled out a firearm.
Mark Witt was no stranger to trouble with the law. Back in August 2021, he was involved in a dramatic high-speed chase and shootout with police in the Stann Creek district. During that incident, he was shot in the leg and police confiscated a .38 revolver from him. At the time, authorities said Witt was part of a group planning a hit in Dangriga. In December 2019, Witt was acquitted of the murder of Amandala journalist Kareem Clark. Clark was tragically shot and killed on July 6, 2015, while riding his bicycle over the bridge at the junction of Vernon and Lakeview Streets. Despite reviewing surveillance footage, police couldn't identify the shooter, and no witnesses came forward. Witt also faced an attempted murder charge for the shooting of Jamelia Neal, who was shot multiple times while socializing at a shop on Cesar Ridge Road. The shooter in that case had a shirt over his head, making identification difficult. Witt was the father of 2 young children. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
Police have provided their side of an incident in Independence Village where a man claims he was abused by officers. 24-year-old Emil Rivas was detained at the Belize Bank compound and charged with possessing a knife and resisting arrest. Rivas, who says he has asthma, alleges that he was stripped down to his boxers and left in a coal cell. He also claims that after police told him to run, they beat him and shot him in the stomach and back. However, the police tell a different story. They say Rivas found a machete in a yard and brandished it at them, which led to them shooting him. Today, ACP Gilberto Romero shared the police's version of events.
On Friday, the 24th of January 2025, Emil Rivas was detained at Independence for aggravated assault after it is alleged that he had assaulted somebody with a knife. He was taken into custody, where at the station he jumped out of the back of a police vehicle where he received some injuries. He was immediately apprehended and taken to the cell where he was detained. Then on Saturday morning, while the cell was being cleaned, he ran from the police who were cleaning the cell. He went to a nearby house where it is alleged that he armed himself with a machete. The police cornered him and there was a struggle. Attempts were made to disarm him from the machete. A warning shot was fired, but that did not work. At some point then the police officer shot him to the leg. He is presently admitted in a stable condition. As in every police shooting, an investigation will be carried out by the Professional Standards Branch.
Is a particular police officer being looked at in this incident? Someone who has been involved in this kind of thing before?
Well, there are several police officers that were involved, some at the cell block and some who brought him into custody.
And we understand that his mom was turned away allegedly by police when they took him to the hospital. Is it policy that someone is well under detention, family members are not allowed access, or?
I'm not aware of that, but if he's in police custody, then at some point, yes, she can visit.
He has several injuries on him, and the allegations being made as some of those injuries, apart from gunshots, have been inflicted by police. How do you respond?
Yeah, again, the report is that he jumped out of the back of a police vehicle. He received injuries. Thereafter, efforts were made to try and disarm him from the machete, so some force was used on him. So, again, I said an investigation will be carried out.
Robert Usher, a father of 6, has had his sentences reduced but will still spend the next 26 years, 11 months and 14 days behind bars for his horrific crimes. Convicted of raping a minor on 3 separate occasions, along with aggravated and sexual assault, Usher learned his fate this morning before Justice Candice Nanton. The 34-year-old who switched attorneys after his conviction found out just how long he'll be serving. The victim's nightmare began when she was only 8 years old and continued until she was 17. Usher first molested her at 8 and raped her 3 times when she turned 13. The abuse, which started in September 2010, only stopped when she moved away, and authorities were finally notified. Throughout his trial, Usher maintained his innocence, denying all allegations. Attorney Norman Rodriguez shared a few comments following the sentencing.
It was actually 2 counts involving aggravated assault and sexual assault, and 3 counts of rape, for a maximum sentence, overall sentence of 26 years, 11 months, and 14 days. That would mean that they subtracted the 8 days he had spent on remand, and there was a deduction of a year for the mitigating testimonies of the witnesses. I came onto this matter for the sentence, the mitigation and sentencing. So I can only tell you that his trial started sometime in November and concluded in November when he was found guilty and remanded to the prison for his sentencing.
Tonight, 26-year-old Clifton Percival Robinson is on remand at the Belize Central Prison awaiting sentencing. Justice Nigel Pilgrim accepted Robinson's guilty plea for the lesser charge of wounding, revoked his bail, and remanded him to prison until his sentencing on February 4th, 2025. Robinson's co-accused, Angel Matura, who was charged with him for attempted murder back in 2022, walked free after the charge was dropped due to Robinson's guilty plea. The charges stem from a shooting incident in March 2022 at Matura's yard, where Albert Reed was injured by a sawed-off shotgun, suffering wounds to his inner thigh and foot. Today, Robinson, following his attorney Norman Rodriguez's advice, entered a plea bargain and took responsibility for his actions. However, he was taken aback when his bail was revoked. Rodriguez argued that Robinson, who had been on bail for over a year and consistently attended his court hearings, was not a flight risk. But Justice Pilgrim saw it differently, stating that in the interest of public safety, bail is revoked when someone admits to a violent offense, especially involving a firearm. On January 20th, 2025, Robinson expressed his desire to enter a plea bargain with the Crown, which was represented today by Crown Counsel Glenfield Dennison.
Yeah, the allegation is that he shot someone or fired shots at someone, and that person was injured in the lower part of his body. As a result of that, the police did its investigation and charged him. Clifton Robinson was not really my client. I accepted his case as a friend of the court. So I was there for that part of the plea bargaining process, just as an attorney sitting in. And now I am assisting him with his mitigation and sentencing. I actually represented the other co-charged, Angel Matura. But Clifton Robinson opted to plead guilty to the lesser charge of wounding. And different judges have different approach, but the judge will always justify by quoting the law. And this judge was on point when he declared that he had the discretion to revoke his bail, which he did, and remand him until sentencing. He said the court did indicate that the act of revoking his bail is not an indication of what the court will, or how the court will sentence him.
On Sunday, a Canadian national found himself in hot water after allegedly trying to paddle a stolen boat into Belize. The arrest came after a dramatic water chase through Chetumal Bay, following reports that the man had swiped a local fisherman's boat from a wharf. Authorities quickly sprang into action, chasing the suspect across open water. A video from the scene shows Navy personnel pulling the man out of the water after he jumped in, trying to escape. He was handed over to local police and taken to jail in Chetumal. The suspect's identity and his reasons for attempting to enter Belize remain a mystery for now. Coming up, Belize rated low for money laundering investigation and prosecution.
Get your body sculpted with gym equipment and accessories from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Energy powers our lives, and now we're powering a sustainable future together. This January 27th and February 3rd at 7:30 p.m., tune into the Energy Exchange Show, your guide to understanding Belize's journey towards sustainable energy. From solar power to electric mobility, learn how we're creating real solutions for everyday Belizeans. With topics like e-mobility and licensing regime, this show is designed to answer your questions about Belize's energy transition. Join us to see how we can all play a role in building a brighter, cleaner Belize.
This is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
At Belize Signs, we turn your ideas into reality. Whether it's billboards that command attention, banners that set the stage, or car decals that make a statement, we've got you covered. From lighted signs that shine in the darkest nights to magnetic signs that are easily interchangeable, we offer a wide range of options like billboards, banners, vehicle decals, lighted signs, magnetic signs, acrylic signs, metal signs, PVC signs, aluminum signs, vehicle wraps, vinyl prints, 3D lettering, awnings, wall murals, and a whole lot more. We're not just sign makers, we're brand enablers. Visit us today.
In Belize, we value our families, we value our communities, we value our neighbors. 90% of Belizeans think it's time for laws that protect all of us and reflect society at its best. 94% of Belizeans agree that public spaces in Belize should be more accessible to people living with disabilities. In Belize, we believe in fair treatment and supporting one another. We know that our beautiful country is at its best when we come together for the greater good. 2 out of 3 Belizeans support a new law to prevent discrimination in employment and public spaces. It shouldn't matter where we come from, who we love, or what we look like. Belizeans deserve to live our best lives. It's time for laws that protect all of us and reflect our society at its best.
Equal Opportunities Bill. Belize, we're ready.
LG dual inverter compressor cools air faster by operating at speeds as high as 120 Hz with more stability compared to conventional models. It also saves up to 70% more energy by operating at speeds as low as 10 Hz with more stability. It reduces torque vibration down to 40% for quiet outdoor unit operation. Stable operation with low vibrations also results in increased durability.
When it comes to tackling money laundering and terrorist financing risks, Belize is leading the pack globally. At least that's what the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force first round evaluation shows. Belize's performance assessed over a 5-year period ending in late 2023 is outstanding. The results of the 4th round mutual evaluation report are fantastic news for Belize's financial sector and correspondent banking relations, that is. The government can finally breathe a sigh of relief, as unlike the 3rd mutual report, Belize won't be gray-listed this time. This afternoon, the National Anti-Money Laundering Council held a press conference to celebrate this significant achievement.
This has been a long road for us. The National Anti-Money Laundering Committee and each participating agency and individual involved have worked tirelessly over the last few years to ensure that we strengthen our framework as much as possible, even while managing their demanding portfolios. We are deeply grateful for all involved. They were instrumental in enabling Belize to achieve the gold standard status that less than 15% of the countries in the world have achieved. Having entered the CFATF's regular follow-up process, avoiding the grey or black lists, and leading in global anti-money laundering efforts, send a strong message to our international counterparts and business community about the country's commitment to transparency, accountability, and regulatory compliance.
Looking at technical compliance, we can see that Belize, which was assessed against 40 recommendations, was rated compliant in 38 of those recommendations and largely compliant in 2. On a first attempt, Belize essentially is best in the world, having surpassed Qatar, which would have had 32 compliant and 8 largely compliant after its first assessment.
Even though Belize scored nearly perfect for technical compliance, only 5 out of 11 immediate outcomes were rated as substantially effective. The area that received the lowest ranking was the investigation and prosecution of money laundering activities.
This was the immediate outcome for which Belize was rated a low level of effectiveness.
How worrisome of an assessment is this to NAMLAC? It doesn't speak well to perhaps what is or should be one of the most important aspects of your operations or mandate.
To put things into context, I think that in looking at how we performed in the different immediate outcomes, we also did an analysis globally of how other countries perform in the different immediate outcomes. So we can see that immediate outcome 7 generally which looks at how money laundering and money laundering is investigated and prosecuted, is one of the areas that countries have challenges with. So globally, we have about 92% of countries achieving either low or moderate levels of effectiveness in this area. So I don't necessarily think that this puts Belize in some sort of shines badly on Belize any at all, because we have fared this way in this particular immediate outcome. I think it does recognize that this is a challenge globally for countries, and so this is one of the areas that, in terms of moving forward in the fifth round assessment, the FATF is looking at how it can strengthen their requirements on countries and what needs to be changed within the framework to address this. So this is an acknowledgement globally that countries need to improve their performance here.
Can the head table then say how many investigations were launched, how many of them were concluded, and how many are still ongoing, and if that data was reviewed as a part of the assessment period? So if there's a figure that can be provided for this assessment period?
Yes, so I can't tell you off the top of my head what those figures are, but they are thoroughly enumerated in the report, because all of that information would have had to be presented. What I can say is that the report looks specifically at the number of money laundering investigations, so it does focus on that. So you would see, I think, maybe about 22, it talks about 22 different money laundering investigations, but what it does factor into as well are also investigations into financial crimes. So we're looking at investigations into fraud, into theft, into obtaining property by deception, and other sorts of investigations, so that number is even greater.
We also wanted to find out which sector in Belize is most at risk for money laundering. According to Lenny Isigeri Magan, the director of the Financial Intelligence Unit, the assessment pinpointed several sectors with higher vulnerabilities. Topping the list of non-financial sectors are car dealerships and real estate businesses.
In general, what sector poses the greatest risk for money laundering, specifically in Belize?
Yes, so that's covered in our national risk assessment report, and again, I believe when we looked at the overall risk in terms of sectors, we had identified, well, first of all, I should say when we look at sectors, we're looking at how vulnerable they are, and that's compared to what threats they might be faced with. So when we looked at the vulnerability of sectors, we looked at the securities sector, we looked at the sectors, certain non-financial businesses sectors, so these were areas that may be a little bit more vulnerable. And this, again, is identified because these sectors are sectors that would have come on stream in terms of being regulated and supervised later than some of our more mature sectors. So those would have accounted for some of the vulnerability factors. But there are a group of them that have been identified as having more vulnerabilities than others, yes.
But now not a specific one can be identified as the top of the list?
There are several that have high levels of vulnerability, yes. And I can zone in on the non-financial ones. So to name them, it would be, for example, vehicle dealers, real estate, those sorts of sectors, yes.
On Saturday night, the Belize Police Department honored 80 exceptional officers who have gone above and beyond in their duties at the first ever Police Awards. The event, held at the Belmopan Civic Center, brought together law enforcement officers from across the country. It was a night to boost the morale of the dedicated men and women who work tirelessly to protect and serve our communities.
And so for us to have been able to bring together, I think, over 80 police officers from across the country and award them for exemplary work done over the year, I think was a good thing for us to do, and it is going to motivate and encourage other officers to do well. At the end of the day, we must not wait for a man to die to tell them that they're good. We must tell them while they're alive, and those officers who were recipients of awards over the weekend we're extremely happy. And while we only awarded about 80 police officers, the truth be told, there are many, many other officers who would have been worthy of being awarded, but we can only award so much. We awarded officers like those who, when we had the fire in San Pedro, the house was on fire and these 2 officers went into the burning building and saved the lives of, I think, about 3 children who could have been burnt in the building that was on fire.
The break, former children's home burns down. But first, here's the latest weather update from the Belize Met Service.
Who is the real UDP? Is it Shine Barrow's UDP or Tracy Panton's UDP? Nobody knows, not even Omar Figueroa. First he was with Shine, then he was with Tracy. Now he's back with Shine. One big joke. Omar Figueroa was a UDP ghost in Cayo North. He did nothing when he was in power, and for sure, he can't be trusted. If he can't even be loyal to one UDP leader, he will never be loyal to the people of Cayo North. Don't even waste your vote. Reject the UDP ghost. Omar Figueroa and the UDP are done. Digi is bringing the power of connectivity to every corner of Belize with our Digi on-the-go mobile store.
Ma, Digi dia.
Digi dia. Don't say. Sign up for the fastest, most reliable home fiber service, purchase the latest device, or explore our wide range of services. This one-of-a-kind mobile store has it all. Our dedicated team brings the same high-quality in-store experience to you, ensuring you stay connected with friends, family, and the world.
You guys bringing the mobile here, it's really helpful, saving a lot of money for people going from the town, especially like in Punta Gorda, which is 25 miles away from here, which will cost a couple dollars for them to reach there. So having these caravan here, it's a lot easier, it's a lot cheaper, and you know, people are taking advantage. As you can see, we have a lot of people coming out today to purchase some of these devices, top-ups and even postpaid that they're eager to have, no?
Digi is connecting Belize one community at a time. Look out for the Digi on-the-go mobile store with exclusive deals and offers in a community near you. Follow us on our Digi Facebook page to see where we will be next.
Digi, our national telecom.
The streetlight implementation plan is to replace the high-pressured sodium lights, better known as HPS lights. These HPS lights will be replaced by the LED lights. Therefore, LED street lights, advanced optics can fine-tune the distribution of lights, ensuring better coverage of the roads, roundabouts, parks, businesses, public area, homes, etc. The feedback have been great. We get positive feedback from the community when it comes to the improved brightness and light quality which LED provides by means of visibility and safety, especially at night.
Before the LED lights was installed, it was kind of dark, you know. Most of the time, you have to look and check. But with the LED lights now, you can see from far.
I like it because it's a nice bright light, because the customer feel much safer to come to the shop.
From the LED lights now that BL had put, it improved a lot. Well, the difference is that they look way far clearer.
Well, I must say thanks again to BL on this one, because actually our nice improvement. Also, it bring up the mahogany, because the mahogany is one of the active street in a Belize city, and also I live back at Gongolong, and when I come off work, it's just a bloom. Nice for me now. When I come home at night, I can see clearly.
The main objective this year is basically to change out 16,000 HPS lights. So the street light replacement will occur at every respective zone. For example, Central, Belize District, North, Orinjoa, Corozal, West, Cayo District, South, Tancrique District, and Toledo District. We have started some years back with the street light replacement project, and the 16,000 will account for the 100% that we need to complete on the distribution system.
Bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Authorities are looking into a fire that completely destroyed a building in the Cayo district early this morning. The blaze broke out around 4 a.m. on the Ontario Christian School, forcing the school to cancel classes for the day. Thankfully, no one was hurt and the flames didn't spread to any other buildings. News 5's Brittany Gordon has the details.
Students at Ontario Primary School in Cayo district got an unexpected day off today, but it came at a steep cost. Early this morning, a fire broke out and completely consumed one of the buildings on the school's grounds, leaving behind nothing but charred remains. Vilma Ramirez, a local resident, shares how she found out about the blaze near her grandchildren's school.
Well, this morning I went to my mom next door, and one of my friends come from out there, come look for medicine. And she told me, he said, girl, he said, you hear what happened? He said, the compound get burned. I said, what? Why? I don't know. He said, 4 o'clock this morning, she said.
Residents say the building that burnt down was the old Mulholland Children's Home, which had been unused for about 3 years. It was less than 100 feet from the school. Thankfully, firefighters managed to contain the blaze and prevent it from spreading. However, teachers reported that their classrooms were filled with the smell of smoke and covered in soot. The rainy weather this morning also helped to dampen the still smoldering remains.
I said, what? I can't believe it. Because that place did it from 1957. Very old place, so we couldn't expect that burn up.
Ramirez is grateful that the school was not impacted by the flames, as her 10 and 12-year-old grandchildren prefer to be learning rather than stuck at home. Did they tell you when classes would open again?
No, they never did tell me.
So you're hoping that by tomorrow maybe the kids can go back to school?
Yes, because they don't like to stay home.
While villagers are relieved that things weren't worse, they're still a bit shaken by the incident. They're hoping investigators can quickly figure out what caused the fire.
My daughter, my son, my 2 daughters, and my son. No, they're my grandkids.
And your grandkids are staying home today. They came and told you?
Yes. They said they're surprised what happened because we never expect that me went to happen out there.
According to Kenneth Mortis, Belize City Station Supervisor at the National Fire Service, authorities are still investigating the incident and are yet to determine the source of the fire. Brittany Gordon for News 5.
A boardwalk can really boost the charm and economic vitality of a tourist destination, benefiting both local businesses and the community. On Friday, the Belize Tourism Board and Cayo Northeast Area Representative Orlando Hebet officially opened the El Cayo Boardwalk along the Macal River. You might remember the brief groundbreaking ceremony last year, just before the municipal elections in March. The project was completed sometime after, but it wasn't until Friday that everyone came together again for the grand opening. Here's News 5's Isani Cayetano with the story.
Boardwalks attract visitors, providing a steady stream of potential customers for nearby businesses. The picturesque view of the Macal River certainly enhances the visitor experience, making San Ignacio more memorable and encouraging repeat visits.
The plan is to continue doing a second phase and then eventually a third phase until we reach the Boat Wharf area, which is by the old Western Club. And we are also doing other projects within this area.
However, El Cayo Boardwalk isn't without its share of controversy. When the Belize Tourism Board, Area Representative Landy Habet, and the PUP Town Council slate broke ground on the project in February 2024, Mayor Earl Trapp publicly stated that he was never consulted about it. This certainly stirred up some debate in the community.
What we have to do is to come together as a community. We have to have strength in numbers, certainly. And the consultation process has to occur, and that is true. But I think that the mayor has to also be truthful, because we have pictures and videos with the mayor here, with Mr. Juan Polanco, who was here also, taking pictures, and we did the consultation, and he agreed in our constructing this boardwalk.
The expected influx of tourists is set to boost sales and revenue for local businesses, driving economic growth in the area. This surge in visitors will likely bring a wave of new opportunities and prosperity to the community.
This entire area, I think, has great potential in being more of a tourism destination or a tourist destination. We started the project over here, over the other side of the river, and we've completed this part. This is phase one. I've been speaking to the minister about extending the boardwalk, whichever location, with consultation with the town council and other experts. So that's critical. And I truly believe that the entire Cayo district can be more of a tourism destination in terms of the overall tourism product that we have to offer.
The reality is that the area is prone to flooding. In mid-November, the boardwalk and nearby structures were submerged when the Macal River overflowed its banks. This has raised concerns about the long-term viability of the project.
There were some naysayers saying that the boardwalk will not withstand the flooding. And I think that even what I saw on Facebook, there were some people even praying that the boardwalk would be taken away during the floods. And as Councillor Mai said, this boardwalk has withstood the second largest flooding event in the last 15 years, just about 2 months ago. These little kiosks, at least 10 feet below water. Mr. Morris and myself and a few others came and we opened the windows so that the water could flow through, so that you can create less pressure. And after the flood was gone, we came back and we washed up and cleaned up. Here we are today.
A well-kept boardwalk really boosts the charm of the area, creating a welcoming atmosphere that makes visitors want to linger and explore. The businesses along the boardwalk also get a visibility boost, making it easier to draw tourists.
I congratulate everybody from the Cayo district, from San Ignacio, Santa Elena with the last project over there, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you who is interested to working along with us to ensure that we increase the quality of visitor experience here in the country.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
When we return, Belize chided over deplorable state of Mexico Sports Center.
This is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
A big part of sustainability is the livelihood of the people.
El agua es importante para nosotros, para la gente. Sin agua no es vida. Pero hoy que tenemos agua las 24 horas, somos felices. Con agua, todo es una vida.
The three communities now have access to quality and quantity of water that they didn't have before. Having a rehabilitated system that, for example, can ensure that even while you have these disasters, flood events that will last from a week to two, that you still have a continuous supply of water, quality water. Health is one of the basic elements that we need. And these communities, again, because they're remote, they don't have access to 24-hour services. Having a polyclinic with 24-hour service addresses the issue of basic health services to the wide population of communities.
El proyecto solar también el benefició bastante porque ahora antes el cobro de luz venía de $1,050 a $800 y ahora ya normalizó como 3 meses, estamos pagando $500 o 530 es lo más. Sé que hay varias personas, varias organizaciones que ayudaron y de parte de la aldea de Bilbao, pues todos estamos agradecidos. Gracias por todo lo que hicieron en la aldea.
The Mexico Sports Center has been left to crumble after Hurricane Lisa caused extensive structural damage in November 2022. Nearly 3 years have passed, and the facility remains untouched, much to the dismay of sports stakeholders and residents who see it as an eyesore. Located just a stone's throw away from Olympic House, where the Belize Volleyball Association hosted the Central American Volleyball Federation's AGM over the weekend, the dilapidated state of the Mexico Sports Center was a hot topic. The issue was raised in the presence of the Minister of Sports, Rodwell Ferguson. News 5's Paul Lopez has more on this pressing concern.
The Mexico Sports Center took a heavy hit from Hurricane Lisa in November 2022, leaving the roof with significant structural damage. The plan was to temporarily close the multi-purpose sports facility for renovations, but more than 2 years later, it remains in a state of disrepair. Footage from Sports Monday, taken just a month before the hurricane, shows a pristine wooden basketball court and seating for fans. Today, the auditorium is unrecognizable. The wooden flooring has been removed due to weather damage. The interior is exposed to the elements, and light fixtures are hanging precariously from the ceiling. An eerie silence now fills what was once a bustling gymnasium. This more than $10 million investment has been abandoned. One particularly unhappy visitor is Cristobal Marte, the president of the Norseca Volleyball Confederation, who is in Belize for the Regional Volleyball General Assembly.
Honorable Minister of Sport is also member of the Parliament.
we need you to yell, not to speak. We need you to yell, to bang your hands on the table, and demand from the Parliament of Belize, demand very strongly, don't be afraid, demand very strongly the necessary support and budget for you to do your work. I was very sad and brokenhearted when I saw the Mexican Center. That cannot continue like that. It cannot continue. It's not possible that almost for 3 years it has been abandoned. It has not been even provided or received officially. It's destroyed. It's like a ghost. We need to fix that.
President Marta raised the issue of the Mexico Center at the opening ceremony of the General Assembly. Minister of Sports Rodwell Ferguson was present.
So we need to do something with that. It cannot be like that. We cannot just look the other way. No. We have to look at it every day, and we got to do something about the Mexican Center. It cannot continue to be like that. It tells bad things about Belize. And you people are not bad people. You are progressive people. You need to do something. It cannot be done. It cannot be like that. It cannot be abandoned like that. Something like that happens in my country, I raise hell. I raise hell. I go to the newspaper. I talk about everybody. I can even put my players dress in black and let's go to the street.
His criticism comes at a time when many sports federations and associations are struggling with a shortage of venues to host events. In Belize's tropical climate, the rain can be unpredictable, making the need for indoor sporting facilities even more pressing. Unfortunately, these venues are few and far between and often too expensive. Alan Sharp, president of the Belize Volleyball Association, emphasized this issue.
We had a fantastic meeting with the Prime Minister where President Marta spoke very direct in expressing what is needed in Belize. We think he was very receptive, namely facilities, because this will be my only chance to say it publicly, that facilities is the greatest challenge to volleyball and to many sports in Belize.
So I asked the minister to prepare a dossier of the story of the Mexican Center. I asked the minister to prepare in that dossier how it got built, where it stands, and then the story of the hurricane that came and destroyed it. And many, many pictures, something very well professional. I promised him to bring that dossier to the table of the lady president of one of the biggest nations I ever been to, Mexico. I have the channel to put that dossier on the table of the lady president elected recently of Mexico. We are not going to lose anything. She will pay attention. Maybe it will be done. But we have nothing to lose. What we are losing right now is the way it is. Abandoned, totally abandoned.
In response to Marta's criticism and his offer to help with the rebuilding efforts, Minister Ferguson mentioned that his team and the ministry is already on it. He made it clear that the delay in renovating the Mexico Center is due to a lack of funds.
I'm in dialogue with Mexico, and I believe that they have agreed to figure out how we can bring back the Mexico Center to its original state. So I take Mr. Marty's advice. We are going to put the memorandum, the document together, and quickly how we can get it done. So and he commit now that once we fix the building, he's going to provide the equipment for inside.
How does it strike you when you pass that Mexico Center and you look at it and the state it is in? What does it do to you?
No, I visit very often, and I wish I had the funds on hand to get it done. Yeah, but it's a bit challenging.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Up next, the weekend sports review with Paul Lopez.
Tourism is the backbone of economic growth and community development. However, success in tourism development requires more than just a vision. It demands responsible planning, strategic partnerships, and adherence to local regulations. To support developers and investors, the Belize Tourism Board, BTB, would like to remind that every owner of a prospective hotel or tourist accommodation must apply for and obtain registration from the Registrar of Hotels before commencing construction or development. For those who have already commenced construction, please contact the BTB at hotels@belizetourismboard.org to request and submit your registration form for new developments. Together, let's build the future of tourism.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSD, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Aiwa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Aiwa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Aiwa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Aiwa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Aiwa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
Confidence. Design Depot brings you an attractive selection of GE appliances, including microwaves, washers, dryers, refrigerators, dishwashers, countertop appliances, and more. We understand the importance of appliances that not only endure, but also excel in performance. As your trusted GE USA authorized dealer, we stand for reliability and performance, ensuring that you can power on with confidence. Visit us today and power on with efficient, reliable, and energy-saving solutions with GE appliances from Design Depot.
Design Depot, all in one place.
La formación del Centro Neurológico del Hospital Galenia es que esas enfermedades que son altamente complejas y que muchos de nuestros pacientes tenían que emigrar hacia otra parte de la República u otra parte de México ahora puedan ser atendidos aquí.
La atención quirúrgica en el centro neurológico se forma dentro de un grupo multidisciplinario que incluye tanto neurólogos, médicos internistas, ortopedistas, neurocirujanos, pediatras. Y este esfuerzo que se ha realizado para conjuntar todos los especialistas es para siempre brindar al paciente un abordaje multidisciplinario y transversal.
Evidentemente, mientras más rápido podamos llegar al diagnóstico de los pacientes, más rápido podemos tratarlos, resolverlos y por ende mejor resultado vamos a tener al final. Entonces creo que la prioridad y el fundamento principal de un proyecto como este es justamente eso, que no se pierda tiempo de forma innecesaria para poder al final del día llegar al mejor de los resultados con un tratamiento completo, integral y oportuno.
y las visiones desde diferentes perspectivas nos permiten tener pues el mejor tratamiento y la mejor opción para el paciente.
Tenemos la capacidad técnica, operativa, profesional y la infraestructura de poder establecer una atención neurológica de alta calidad.
Good night and welcome to another edition of Sports Monday. I am Paul Lopez. Cycling races are woven into the fabric of Belize's cultural identity. From the thrilling Holy Saturday Cross Country Cycling Classic to the exciting New Year's Cycling Classic and all the races in between, we line the streets to cheer on our favorite athletes or tune in from our devices.
Here comes Oscar Quiros. Oscar Quiros, along with Corey Williams and Javin Gonzalez, have made their way across.
Over the past 3 years, one voice has become synonymous with cycling live streams, that of bike shop owner Andrew Ordonez. His commentary has become a staple, adding color and excitement to every race.
I always loved cycling from teenagers, or maybe just after past 10 years old, I fell in love with cycling. And then eventually I got into making cycling a living. I opened a bike shop. Getting to the broadcasting part, right after COVID, I visited my son in Chicago, and he had a bicycle racing in the Intelligentsia Cup. Know nothing about streaming, nothing about, I mean like, how call it, dance when it comes to like anything media, right? And he said, Dad, just hold the phone, and we're going live, and we are calling names, and so.
Ordonez returned to Belize shortly after, and what he tried for the first time in Chicago set him on a new path. He began live streaming races across the country, covering thousands of miles and countless events. And he's not using any fancy equipment either. Ordonez ingeniously crafted a tripod from a bicycle fork, connected to a bicycle hub, and mounted on a platform for 2 phones. His resourcefulness and passion have made him a staple in the Belizean cycling scene.
Being have the bike shop, the cyclists, I mean, every day you have cyclists gather here. We talk about cycling. I mean, I have been a racer back in the day, so I know how the race is being ridden, how the body operates. And because I know the cyclism by name, by riding style, like people ask me, how do you know it's such a rider? Because I could say, oh, that's Mr. Judge, kill it riding, and when I say, yes, it's Mr. Judge, because you know them, you communicate, and some of the cyclists come here and they really talk out their team strategy, so I pick up on that, right? But being on the highway, it's easy for me. Easy for me to talk all day about cycling.
Ordonez has made a name for himself through his live streams. His energetic and sometimes comical commentating keeps the audience engaged while watching races.
Kayatus and young Energizer Bunny have blown the whole race to smithereens. They have caused ruction and destruction in the peloton. They have scattered riders like skittle all over the tarmac.
But following a cycling race in its entirety across highways on the back of a motorcycle is no easy task, and quite frankly, a high-risk job.
Like you know that if family donated a motorcycle to me, free of charge, they just let me go to customs, and I drove out with that beautiful machine because they saw what I was doing, and they really want to see me, stay on the tarmac. But like you mentioned about the danger, we know how dangerous it is. I have seen, our friends lose their life. I know I could be one of those persons, one of these. But when you love something, if you put your life on the line, you don't think about it. You just do it, and that's how I do. I just continue to go there every day, pray. My family pray. Fans pray for me, and they say, Andrew, we know the risk you take. I know the risk I take, but I put it in my mind. The good Lord is watching over me,
and may He continue to do so. It was a big weekend for volleyball in Belize as the country hosted the Central American Volleyball Federation's General Assembly for the first time. This federation is part of the Norseca Volleyball Confederation, and its president, Cristobal Marte, was in Belize for the event. Before the assembly on Saturday, Marte met with Prime Minister John Briceño, the CEO in the Ministry of Tourism, and the Minister of Sports to push for greater investments in sports. Here are some remarks from the opening ceremony on how they plan to make that happen.
Sport can increase income in this country, as it does in every other country in the world, throughout tourism, throughout the sport and tourism, bringing in events, creating know-how, creating awareness in the world, so people know where Belize is, what do they do, and creating idols. We need to have champions here in Belize. We need to have people to look up to here in Belize, to inspire our youth here in Belize.
As I've had discussions with President Marte and Ms. Arateire, is that we can always do with more equipment, but that said, along that same line, during the conversations with Minister Ferguson, with Prime Minister, with CEO Usher, he expressed clearly that NORCECA can offer even more assistance, but first Belize must do its part. That is, the government must do its part, the National Federation must do its part, and NORCECA will even do more for the country of Belize.
And the Prime Minister announced some months ago that from our lottery, a portion of the proceeds will come to sports. That by itself, again, will be some assistance to improve our facilities. And it's one of few facilities because we're a small country. And I want to commit that we are going to work for those to be done.
Well, folks, that's all we have for you in tonight's coverage of Sports Monday. Catch you in the next one.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook, and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.